How's it going, everyone? Really good video today about how do we fix the skinny fat physique, right? So this is a highly sort of contested debate, and you see this on Twitter all the time. People are saying, what do you do if you get someone who's skinny fat? Should you put them on a bulk, maintenance calories, deficit? Should we drop the body fat first? What should we do? And there's a couple of camps with this. I want to run you through some of the sort of checklists and the checkpoints that I'd be looking for if I'm taking a new client on and they are sort of skinny fat. This is the approach that I'd be looking to take, and I want to explain some of the nuance behind it, right? And again, if anybody is watching this and you are in this sort of skinny fat zone, this is really going to be helpful for you, right? So let's get into it. So the skinny fat fix, right? So for me, the number one thing is that every client that comes to you, or every person, is going to be psychologically in a different spot, right? Very, very important. You have to meet the client or the person where they're at. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, what have they done in the past? If they had failed diet attempts, if they struggled being in deficits, if they struggled with restrictive eating patterns and binge eating habits, now if someone's coming to me like that with that sort of background history, I'm probably not going to put them in an aggressive deficit, especially if they are skinny fat. Probably for them, a maintenance sort of calorie zone would make sense for them, right? Maybe someone who comes to you, they've had no failed diet attempts and they're in a good spot mentally, decent relationship with food. Maybe they can handle a little bit more of a deficit. So there's an example of you have to meet someone where they're at. But one thing that I definitely would not do is I would not put someone in a surplus. If someone is coming to me skinny fat, I would not put I would ever put them in a surplus, because it makes no sense for some of the reasons that I'm going to get into now. Now, another big thing that you've got to look at would be, when I say psychology of an individual, how do they feel about their physique at that point in time? Is the fat that they've got on their body, is that becoming to a point where they're feeling bad about themselves? They've got poor self-worth. They just hate this belly fat. They want to get rid of some of this. So someone like this is probably gonna, they're gonna benefit from getting into a little bit of a deficit up front and seeing the physique change. Putting someone like that in a surplus just makes no sense, right? So that takes us on to number two. For the most part, as I say, I'm never ever gonna put anyone in a surplus if they're coming to me skinny fat. Minimum, it's either gonna be maintenance or a deficit, right? Depends where the client is at and where they're at. Now, as I say, surplus makes no sense. The reason for this, if someone's got a higher body fat percentage, already their inflammation is going to be quite high, systemic inflammation, right? Their insulin sensitivity, there's a good chance that their fasting glucose levels are in a poor spot. So their ability anyway to utilize extra carbohydrates and be putting them in a surplus, it makes no sense, because they're not in a conducive environment to do that just yet, right? So that's where putting someone like that in a little bit of a deficit up front and dropping some body fat, you improve insulin sensitivity, fasting glucose, you improve their ability to then start to utilize the carbohydrates down the line, because you're lowering inflammation. And then the biggest thing as well is that you're creating a bigger runway for them to then build out. We're not putting someone who's skinny fat in a deficit forever. It could literally be 8, 10, 12 weeks, clean up some body fat up front, take care of some of these markers to give us a bigger runway. So if you're looking at a year plan for someone, getting a little bit leaner up front, it just sets up the first 2-3 months, getting a little bit leaner, dropping some body fat, cleaning things up. It just then sets them up for the next year. Instead of putting someone in a surplus right away, again, it just makes no sense for a lot of these reasons here, right? So that's number two. Number three, this is huge. This is why, for the most part, if someone can handle a deficit when you're skinny fat, this is why I would put you in a deficit. The novel stimulus effect. If you're coming to me, you're skinny fat, you haven't got much training experience, you haven't been training properly, your diet is being all over the place, not being locked in, your recovery modalities, everything is just being poor. You getting all of your boxes ticked and starting to learn how to train properly, train progressively, get a good training split, understanding your nutrition, your recovery habits, you're going to go through the novel stimulus effect, or the bouts of novel stimulus. This is all going to be so powerful, and your physique is going to change drastically, even in a deficit. You are going to build muscle tissue and strength across the board, even while being in a deficit. So it's like this big, powerful double whammy of stimulus. You're going to be dropping body fat and you're going to be building muscle at the same time. You can't do this forever. There's only certain types of individuals who can do this. And if you're a skinny fat noob with no experience, this is one of those times where you can build muscle and lose body fat at the same time. So take advantage of it. What you could do in that first 3, 4, 5 months with this novel stimulus effect, you can just totally change your physique and revamp everything. So that's take advantage of it. So and that takes us on to number 4, right? This comes in with novel stimulus, but if someone goes from just poor eating habits, eating like shit, and then we start getting some food structure. Now when I say food structure, I mean you take someone who's just been eating normally like a normal person does. I say normal person, I don't mean that disrespectfully, but you know what I mean. People don't keep an eye on protein feedings and carbs around training, all this stuff. Most normal people don't worry about this. So when we take someone who's had no food structure and we start spreading out our protein intakes across the day, 3 to 5 protein feedings across the day, maybe 3 to 5 hours apart. Let's say we take someone who's been eating once a day, skinny fat once a day, and we take him to spreading his protein feeds across 4 meals across the day, right? That's number 1. The second thing would be we start to time a lot of his carbohydrates around the training window, especially pre. Mainly pre, maybe some intra, but definitely some post. So pre, intra, post, they will be his biggest carb meals of the day. So once we start making these tweaks, and then we start having a big eye on micronutrients, fruits and veggies, good hydration protocol, all that stuff, we just start getting good food structure and good food habits. That, in line with the novel stimulus effect from training, so powerful. Even in a deficit, doing all this stuff, your physique will change if you've got that skinny fat physique and you start doing all this stuff. So that's the big thing with food structure as well. Now the other point, cardio and steps, movement in general. Again, if you've had someone who has been sitting in an office for years on end, their daily step count has on average been 4,000 for the last couple of years, and they don't do any cardio, they don't do nothing like that. All of a sudden, if we get this person starting to be more mindful of that, getting 10 to 12k steps daily, a couple of bouts of cardio across the week, maybe 60 minutes of low intensity cardiovascular work. You can do 3 by 20 minute bouts or 2 30-minute bouts, whatever someone can fit into their schedule. On top of maybe 10 to 12k steps, we're getting that movement up. We're getting that calorie burn and the expenditure up. We know how important movement is, and this all comes in together. Novel stimulus effect, food structure, movement. Again, the physique just starts to change. This is all new. It's all a powerful catalyst to make a change in a physique, and all while you're in a deficit as well, right? So, the final point. Now, this is the most important one for me. This is absolutely key, and this is what people get wrong. If we take someone who's skinny fat and we put them in a deficit, we're not just trying to shrink them down to a skeleton. No, we're not trying to do that. We're trying to get them as lean as they can, but training stimulus is absolutely key. We want to still progress lifts in this deficit, which they 100% can because of this novel stimulus effect. Good programming, good execution, drive better stimulus, you drive better tension, we progress lifts over time, and the physique will change. That is key, and this is all feasible while someone is in this deficit, going from skinny fat, getting a little bit leaner, and building some muscle tissue simultaneously. The big driving force behind all this is the training stimulus, teaching someone how to train accurately, taking someone who comes into you with poor form, and within a couple of weeks, they've got better form. A couple of months, it's much better form. So they're just going on this journey of becoming a better lifter, just driving better stimulus, more accuracy with the sets, and we're just improving everything inside the gym, and that is huge. We're not just sucking someone down to look like a skeleton. No, but big focus on training progressions, and because they're skinny fat and they're a noob, they can just take advantage of dropping body fat and building muscle tissue simultaneously. But the training stimulus is absolutely key, absolutely pivotal, right? Now, just to finish it off, adherence is king. Now, the reason, a big positive for me, this ties back into the psychology of an individual. If you take someone who's skinny fat and you put them in a deficit, and they start to see their physique change pretty rapidly, because it will. They'll start dropping off body fat quite fast. They'll start feeling stronger quite fast because it's all new. All of a sudden, you get someone hooked. You get someone, they start feeling good. They start, I'm getting stronger here. My belly fat, it's shrinking. Here we go. Like, couple of weeks of that, you've got them. You've got the person exactly where they want to be. They're seeing the results, something that they struggled with for a long time. Because now we're getting all of our X's and O's crossed. That drives adherence. When people see results, that drives adherence. So putting someone in a surplus who's already skinny fat, it doesn't make any sense. Put them in a deficit up front or maintenance, their physique is going to change massively, and you get that buy-in, and that is critical, because that's what stopped people, these type of people, from progressing and getting in the gym for years on end. They've always been stop, start, stop, start. They've never seen anything happen. We get them set up on a good plan, which gets that buy-in, gets that adherence over the long haul. Where are they going to be in 1, 2, 3 years time? But how we start and how we start off getting results is critical for them, right? So hopefully this makes sense. I'm going to throw up a couple of little client photos of people who've been skinny fat and people that I've helped on the journey. So if anybody is interested in working with me and needs a little bit of help yourself, drop a comment down below and we'll get you sorted. But other than that, please drop a comment, like the video, make sure you're subbed, and there's going to be more of these videos coming soon. Alright, but I appreciate the support, everyone, and I'll speak to you in the next one.